Hi guys. What if I told you the men around you, the ones who joke with you, hang out with you, and even call you bro, secretly envy the man you are? They don't say it out loud, but they feel it. And behind closed doors, they've had entire conversations about you that you'll never be invited to. You just haven't noticed the signs yet. Give me the next 10 minutes and I'm gonna show you what you've been missing. Now, some of you might be thinking right now, how could a woman know this? I know because I have brothers, cousins, uncles, daddy. I know because all these men put me on game when I was little. I know because I've seen men do this in real time right in front of me. The envy, the competition, the insecurity. You don't need to be a man to recognize it. You just need to study human behavior. And that's what I do. I study behavior. I decode patterns. And I break it all down for men like you who are ready to move different. This is exactly what I teach in my book, Attraction Secrets. How to master perception, power, and presence in a way other men feel, even when they don't understand it. The link is in the description. Now let's get into it. Here's 7 subtle signs that other men envy you and secretly want to be like you. Number 1, they don't clap when you win. Have you noticed that the guys you call your friends suddenly go quiet when you get a promotion, get into a new relationship, or end up being the one everybody's paying attention to at an event? No congratulations, no support, just awkward silence. Because when you win, it reminds them that they were secretly comparing themselves to you. And now that you've pulled ahead, it ruins the illusion that you were equals. The truth is, male groups naturally fall into a kind of pecking order that I think a lot of guys don't naturally think about consciously, but it shows up, especially when one guy starts to rise, because men tend to be very hierarchical in their social groups. The weird part is, it's not usually the ones above you or beneath you in that social hierarchy, like your boss or subordinates, that react. It's the ones who think they're on your level, the ones who think they should be on the same plane as you. Because when you suddenly pull ahead, it messes with the unspoken balance and ignites an unspoken male status war. And that's when the competition and envy kicks in. Number 2, they might have everything else, but you get the female attention. This is where the male ego takes its biggest hit, because at the end of the day, all forms of status, money, power, the muscles, the tailored suits, the luxury cars, they're all just layered attempts to obtain the same thing: female attention and reproductive access. That's biology and that's primal. Every accolade they collect is subconsciously aimed at increasing their value in the sexual marketplace. So when you're the guy who gets women effortlessly without having to force it or fake it, it triggers something deeper than jealousy. It triggers deep-seated insecurity. You become the mirror they don't want to look into. The guy who skips the entire fake act and still pulls exactly what they've been chasing. And not just one woman, multiple women, without even trying. And they hate that because they don't know how to compete with it. They spent years building the image, and you walk in and get the real results without breaking a sweat. Go to any high-end lounge, cigar bar, or private members club. You'll spot the hierarchy fast. Most of the men in that room are peacocking with status symbols. But the man who commands attention from women without saying a word, he's the one they watch when he's not looking. Because it does not matter how loud their power is. If the women in the room are locked on you, you win. And in their mind, that invalidates everything they've built. And that's why female attention isn't just attention, it's confirmation that you're not trying to be that man, you already are. And to every other man in the room, that's a threat. Because now their money, their titles, their designer image don't guarantee the one thing they were really chasing all along. Number 3, they try to copy you and fail awkwardly. It's said that imitation is the highest form of flattery. And that's true. But imitation only looks flattering when it's done out of respect. But when it's coming from envy, it's embarrassing. Men who can't admit that you've got something they don't will try to clone it instead. And they won't give you credit. They won't say it out loud. They'll start studying you like a blueprint. How you talk, how you move, how you dress, how you lead. They'll even start talking to the same people, showing up in the same spaces, and trying to mimic your rhythm like it's going to transfer your power and uniqueness to them. But here's where they fail. You didn't rehearse your presence. The way you stand, the way you speak, it hits because it's aligned with who you are. That's why when they try to copy you, it looks forced. It looks like an act because they're trying to wear your identity without doing the work that forged it. And deep down, they know it. That's why they get frustrated when it doesn't work. They wonder why women respond to you differently, why people take your words seriously but brush them off. It's because presence isn't a template. It's built through action, discipline, and self-possession. And no imitation will ever outshine the original, especially when the original didn't need a manual. Number 4, they try to cope by putting you in a box. This one's so common, most men don't even realize it's envy at first. When another man feels threatened by you, but doesn't have the guts to admit it, he'll try to shrink you instead. He'll slap a label on you that makes him feel safer, like you're some basic one-trick guy who only knows how to do one thing well. That way, he doesn't have to deal with the threat you actually pose. You're great with women. He jokes that you're always chasing women or acting too smooth. But there's weight behind it. Like your success is just some game or gimmick. You're smart and calculated. Suddenly, you're a nerd or a know-it-all. Not someone with power, just someone with facts. You're lifting weights and building your body. You're the gym bro, not disciplined or driven. You're just the guy who lifts too much and thinks too little. That's how they try to frame it. See what's happening here? He's not describing you, he's projecting his insecurities onto you. These labels aren't for other people, they're labels for himself. Because if he admits you're the full package, a man with presence, intelligence, physical discipline, and social pull, it would crush his own perception of where he ranks. His ego cannot survive that. So instead, he cuts you down to one trait, one lane, one identity. He puts you in a box so he doesn't have to face the full picture. But the irony is, the fact that he needs to do that already tells you you're ahead. This is how insecure men cope with status gaps. They label what they can't beat. They don't want to deal with the complexity of who you really are, because the moment they admit there's more to you, they have to admit they're not on your level. Number 5, he tries to outshine you in front of women. When a man feels threatened but lacks the internal strength to compete on depth, he'll default to performance. Not because he's confident, but because he's terrified of fading in your shadow. You'll spot it in social settings where women are present. That's where ego screams the loudest. He gets a little more animated, a little more dramatic. He starts flexing stories that seem like he's practiced them. He tries to overtalk you, raises his voice, laughs too hard at his own jokes. There's this forced energy in everything he does, like he's trying to steal the attention in the room before it gravitates towards you. But deep down, he knows the room's already shifting. So he starts panicking. Everything gets exaggerated, his voice, his hands, even the way he stands. It's like he's auditioning for approval instead of owning the room. These aren't mistakes, these are survival tactics, because nothing bruises the ego more than watching a woman become more intrigued by another man without him even trying. What you're seeing is a man trying his best to matter. He's trying to claw back value he never built in the first place. This isn't confidence, it's panic dressed up as a performance. Back in early human history, status wasn't just about ego, it was about survival. Men who didn't provide value to the tribe were either ignored, rejected, or casted out. And if a man wasn't physically dominant or couldn't attract women through strength, leadership, or skill, he had to find another way to stay visible. That other way was usually entertainment, humor, or exaggerated behavior. So instead of being respected, he became the fool, the loud one, the man who acted out in group settings just to keep eyes on him. Because invisibility meant you were socially dead. No status, no women, no legacy. And that same survival wiring, it still kicks in today. Now it looks like this: laughing too hard, talking over other people, bragging, being funny at someone else's expense, telling stories that didn't happen. That's not just insecurity, it's an instinct. A man who can't win on presence alone performs, because deep down, he knows the moment he fades into the background, he's already lost. What makes this so powerful is it reveals more about you than him. You're not just another guy in the group. While he's reaching, you're grounded. You're not scrambling or desperate for the group's approval. You're controlling the emotional tone without even having to raise your voice or really even open your mouth. That contrast puts pressure on him, and he knows it, even if he won't admit it. Number 6, they try to belittle you in front of women. This one's crystal clear. When it's just the guys, they're cool with you, laughing, relaxed, no tension. But the second women enter into the mix, especially the ones who clearly pay attention to you, that's when it flips. Suddenly, they're cutting you off mid-sentence, dropping little passive-aggressive jabs, telling stories that make you look weak, making slick comments to embarrass you in front of the women. That's a dead giveaway. You're watching a biological power struggle between men, a silent fight to decide who sits at the top while women watch from the sidelines. That's not just social, that's evolutionary. In every species, males compete for visibility, dominance, and mating access. And in humans, that competition turns verbal, passive-aggressive, and psychological. It's extremely strategic. They're trying to lower your rank in front of women, because they know women choose from the top of the hierarchy, and they know you're sitting higher on that ladder than they are. That's why they don't play this game with men they already outrank. They only do it when they feel threatened. It's one of the oldest human instincts. Tear down what you feel like you can't outshine. They don't want women to see you the way they do, confident, calm, naturally dominant. So they try to level the playing field by making you look smaller. But that effort alone is proof you're above them, because nobody feels the need to sabotage someone that's truly beneath them. This is envy disguised as just messing around. And deep down, they're not doing it to make the women like them more. They're doing it to make the women like you less. Number 7, they get weirdly competitive over things no one even cares about. When a man knows he's already lost where it matters, power, presence, identity, status, he doesn't just walk away. He scrambles. He starts reaching for anything he thinks he can win, even if it's meaningless. He brags about being half an inch taller. He tries to correct you on the smallest detail in front of everybody. He flexes about something nobody even asked about. Why? Because it gives him a temporary sense of control. This isn't confidence. This is a man trying to cover up what he knows deep down. He's not the one being chosen. So he clings to whatever scraps of status he thinks he has left. He'll try to put you in check over nothing. He'll argue about something no one even cares about. He'll obsess over some tiny win he feels like he had just to stay in the game. And he'll do it all while trying to convince you it's dominance. It's not, it's desperation. Because when a man feels he's outclassed, he'll settle for being aggressive even if no one's paying attention. And here's what men like that will never admit. If you weren't a threat, he'd have no reason to compete. But your presence exposes every single gap he's been avoiding in himself. So instead of trying to rise to your level, he picks petty battles because that's the only place he thinks he can win. That's a man trying so hard to matter. Meanwhile, you're not chasing wins that mean nothing. You're building value that speaks for itself. And the more you stay focused on that, the more you'll see exactly who feels left behind. Envy is the side effect of doing things right. Let them feel it and keep going. And if you're ready to take this deeper, to control the frame with women the same way, you already know where to go. Grab my book, Attraction Secrets. The link is in the description. So with that being said, until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.